and welcome back to Oatmeal Homestead. So today we're gonna do a baked oatmeal with elderberry jelly. This elderberry jelly, I'll link it below. It is amazing, and I'll show you a picture of it in a minute once we get started. I eat this at least, or I make this at least once a week. I usually eat it every day for breakfast. Typically it makes me 8 to 10 servings, depending on the size of it. It's mostly ingredients that you have on hand, and it is oh so delicious. So let's get started and I'll show you how we do it. Okay, so I'm trying out some different angles to try to make it a little bit easier for you to see. So let's go ahead and get started with the oatmeal. So you can find this recipe on scratchpantry.com. I mean, I kind of go by her recipe, and then I kind of do extra because I don't have exactly what she calls for as far as the filling. But this is how we make it. I wanted to show you this jelly. This is the elderberry jelly. Let me see if I can get it to focus in on that. So this is, it's from All Things Elderberry, and they sell other things other than jelly. Obviously a lot of elderberry products. I can't talk today. So it's farm to table. I'll tell you the ingredients. It's sugar, elderberries, filtered water, pectin, and lemon juice. That's all that's in it. And this is a 19 ounce jar, so we're not going to use quite all of this, but we can eat this on our biscuits. So again, if you want to go check them out, it's allthingselderberry.com. And our neighbor's family actually, I guess they own this or run it or own the farm the elderberries come from. I'm not exactly sure, but he's the one, or they're the ones that actually gave us some of this to try. It is the best elderberry jelly, the best jelly period that I've ever had, and I love it. I hope if you guys try it, you'll love it. I'll post down in the description so that you know where you can pick some up. So we're gonna start off with oats. These are the oats, salt, or oats and sugar from the As Your Standard order, and I've been very happy with them. They are all good. Everything I've purchased from them I have enjoyed. If you don't know, there's a video below of what all I purchased. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna kind of do this. There's a video below of what all I purchased from them, and I have been very happy with everything to date. This glass container is giving me a little bit of a hard time. So it's gonna be 4 cups of oats. Which, as I know from making this so much, it's about half this container. So I do love these little containers. They're glass and they're airtight. This is still pretty kind of a what am I trying to say? It's a lot. I don't get my fingers in the way when I'm pulling this up because it still recoils pretty tight, and I think it'll get better over time. But those are super nice. I just got those on Amazon. So we have the oatmeal, and then we're gonna do 2 cups of milk. This is a 1 cup measuring cup. So we're just gonna pour that in. I make this usually once a week, sometimes twice a week. It just kind of depends if I end up eating it for more than just breakfast. It's very delicious. Highly recommend. We're gonna do some vanilla. It's supposed to be 2 tablespoons. I always just sprinkle in however much I feel like. I'm gonna bring you down here where you can kind of see what all we're doing. We're gonna put 1/4 to 1/2 cup of sugar. Now, since I am using jelly, which does have sugar in it, I'm gonna do a little less than 1/4 of a cup. That's 1/4, and I'm doing a little bit less than that because, like I said, the jelly has its own sugar in it, as you're all aware, so I don't wanna put a lot of sugar in there. It defeats the point of it being a yummy, delicious meal. Let me see what else we need to put. We need to put I don't know if you can hear that. Let me kind of show you what I'm talking about with the lids on here. First off, they're very hard and then they recoil a lot. We're just gonna sprinkle just a little bit of salt in there. This is the Redmond's real salt. I've been very happy with it as well. See how that kind of just recoils a lot. So here's all of this. We need to add our fruit and eggs. I do 6 eggs. We're gonna get our eggs washed. Here are the eggs in their little carton. We're gonna wash them. We're gonna put them one time in a bowl and then we'll dump them over there. The recipe you can do 10. She says this is just for protein. So you can do up to 10. I usually do 6. Just seems to be a good number. If eggs were plentiful, I might do the full 10, but I usually just do the 6. So we're just gonna split these, not dump the shell in there, and then dump them into our mixture. I keep all of my shells. I just put them in the freezer, and then I use these eggshells to help fertilize our garden. What I will probably do is once our chickens get old enough is crunch the shells up even smaller, and I will give that back to the chickens for added calcium. So that's one thing with us raising chickens is we want the chickens for the eggs, but we also want them to work for us. So we're gonna use them as a source of the fertilizer, so the shavings and the chicken poop. We're gonna use that as a source of fertilizer. We're also going to use them to help a little bit of pest control, because this will be the first year we're planning a farm, so I don't know exactly what all we're gonna be dealing with, so hopefully they can help a little bit with that. Obviously, I can't let them in my garden or they will take all of my crop, but you know, we live in Tennessee, so we have especially in the summer months, we have ticks, we have fleas, we have a lot of deer in the back, some coyotes back there, which is a concern for the chickens. But we do have, you know, and then just pests that are going to be on our crop, right? So we want them to help take care of that. So egg production, fertilizer, and then to help kind of de-weed the garden, till it up a little bit for us in a more natural way. We're gonna get some poultry, probably not poultry fencing, but something a little bit stronger. To help keep them safe so that they'll be in the goat yard with the goats. I think you guys have seen that in a previous video. They'll be in there, but look how pretty this egg is. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. It's nice and speckled, really pretty. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Or I think you've already seen where the goats are, and the chickens are gonna be in there with the goats, and then they'll also have, you know, their coop and their run, but we're also gonna have some portable fencing, and we are going to use that to let them kind of free roam a little bit more. And like I said, especially in the fall time or winter time, after the garden is done its thing for the year, kind of put them out there and let them just put it to bed for us in a way. So we're pretty excited about it. I'm tickled. I've never had chickens before, and we have the goats. And so that's why I don't know if you can see that. And it also smells, but that's why I dump them in here. So I'm not dumping a whole, that's why I put them in a bowl instead of dumping them in there, because then I would have ruined my whole mixture there. And that just happens with farm fresh eggs. We've had these particular eggs, I'm trying to think when they gave them to us, but we've had them for a minute, and I don't want to have to re-watch that bowl, so I think I'll just use these 5. These were all fine, and I'm sure the rest are fine too. So we're gonna get the jelly added in here, and then we're gonna put some butter in. The oven's already heating to 350, and we bake this for 30 minutes. Okay, so let me get you where you can see. We're just gonna kind of stir these eggs in, just just to kind of get them nice and distributed. And then we're gonna add our jelly, and we're gonna put a little bit of butter in there. This butter is delicious. I really didn't think that there was that much of a difference. Sorry, that's Gordy. He's our little deaf-blind chihuahua. But it is phenomenal, delicious. I really didn't think there was a lot of different taste as far as butter goes. That butter, y'all, it is amazing. And I'm not a huge butter fan. I mean, I'll cook with it if it calls for butter, but as far as like if I go somewhere and I get bread or a roll or a biscuit, I typically don't put butter on any, well, I don't put butter on any of that. So I could definitely put that butter on it though. It is delicious. So I think we have that nice and combined. I am gonna get a different spoon because I'm not gonna be using all of this for this recipe. We'll use some of this for the biscuits. Okay, let's see if I can open this. I've been having some arthritis in my joints, so hopefully I can get this open. Okay, I got it. Someone had given me one of these to use, or you know what, we might have picked this up at one of the auctions, and I was trying to use it to put it on that lid and I just broke it. That's okay, it came open, so I'm happy. Now, like I said, this is 19 ounces and we're not going to put all of that in here. We're going to use the rest just throughout. I try to kind of distribute it a little bit. It just makes it a little bit easier for mixing it in. And then I just kind of flatten it with the spoon just to help get it all incorporated. And then we're gonna just mix this in. Let me bring you up so you can see. Okay, so you can kind of see the texture we're working with here. Like I said, I'm just going to stir this all around. Try to really smash that jelly up just so I don't have clumps of jelly and then no jelly in there. So it makes it just a little bit smoother. And I love that it kind of turns this a light lavender purpley color from the jelly, and I love that too. So I'm just gonna kind of push some of it over there, push some of it over here in the corner, just to try to get it all distributed out through the mixture. It's also important when you're cooking this to make sure you get all the oats off the rim, or it just makes it harder to get them off once you cook it because it cooks them to it and it just makes it harder to clean. So little tip there is make sure you don't have any sticking up on the corners. It's like I said, it's just harder to clean, and it bakes the oats because they're not in the liquid, I would assume. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting all of this incorporated. It does take a second just to kind of stir all this around. And like I said, then I'm going to go back around and just try to make sure I get off as much of the outer layer as I can. If you guys have chickens, what kind of chickens did you end up with? What kind of chicken breeds do you have? We got all hens, and we got 5 different breeds. I did a little research on good layers, on birds that semi get along. You know, I didn't want a lion in the same area as a lamb, right? I wanted similar. I know they're gonna have a pecking order, but I don't wanna have anybody really beat up on, and just friendlier, good laying, some winter laying birds, just to have eggs in the winter. I did a decent amount of research before we ordered. I can't remember the names of all of them right off the top of my head, but when they come, I will do a video and show you guys. So I feel like that looks pretty good. That's a good texture. Now we need to add a little bit of butter. And I'm just gonna cut very thin little slices, and I just threw that one in the floor. And and just kind of sprinkle them throughout as best I can. It doesn't have to be an exact science. It just helps it more distribute the butter. Now sometimes when I bake it, you can see the actual clumps of butter in there. That's fine. This makes about, for us, it makes about, or for me I should say, Nick doesn't really eat it much. It makes about 8-ish servings, depending on how big of a serving you're looking to go for. Alright, we have all of our butter. Let me pick that piece up out of the floor before a doggy comes over, and let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so we have our oven preheating to 350 degrees. We're gonna pop this in. Usually for me, it's about 28 to 30 minutes. I think the recipe says 30 to 35, but just kind of on your first time, just kind of ballpark it. That way you kind of know what the sweet spot is. It's okay if you're not gonna eat it right away. Probably okay anyway. If you undercook it just a bit, because you're gonna end up popping it in the microwave to warm it up for breakfast, and I usually put it in for 1.5 to 2 minutes, so it's gonna get continue to get cooked in there. Usually 28 to 30 minutes works perfect for me. I can eat it straight out of the oven once it's cooled, or it works great when I warm it up the next day. That is our super simple, easy baked oatmeal with our wonderful, delicious elderberry jelly. Man, it is so, so good. I cannot say enough about that. I looked that up online, and I believe that jar of 19 ounces is about $8.99 or $9.99. And I've looked at other elderberry online because I couldn't remember where I had picked that up from until the other day when we were talking to our neighbor. And it's way more expensive than that for a smaller jar. So try that out, and if you do, let me know what you think about it. They have, like I said, they have other elderberry products. So let's get this baked, and then we'll come back and take a look. Okay, so our baked oatmeal is done. The timer just went off, so let's take it out and take a look. Not sure where my pot holders are, but we'll do it this way. Oh, that looks delicious. Can you see that? That looks amazing. I know that it's gonna taste amazing. Let me swing you over and let you get a good shot of it. Here's our baked oatmeal, our baked elderberry oatmeal at that, and I cannot wait for that to cool. Now, I'm making dinner in a separate video, so I won't be eating that today, but I might take just a little bit for dinner, for kind of a dessert tonight, and then get that divided up into portions for me to put in the fridge to have breakfast for the remainder of the week. Guys, I hope you liked this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, friends.